ridiculous.
But it's hard to imagine, right? If you're from Arizona or Ohio or somewhere in the middle of nowhere, is you don't see money, so you don't believe it, right? It seems like something out of your reach.
It has come to my attention. We have not talked about an alpha male in near a month, so allow me to introduce you to Vincent Fisher, aka Pubes Watson. He gets this name as an homage to the king of alpha males, Mr. Wesley Watson, who, in a very short time, should be in prison. And I've heard rumors that there's a debate right now in the alpha male community who's going to step up and be the new king of the alpha males. I got my money on the dark horse Vincent Fisher. He's a 22-year-old young buck from Brickell, Miami, Florida. Because now let's be honest, if you're going to be the king of the alpha males, you got to be in Brickell, Miami, Florida. If you're not there, screw you. That's the only place ballers live. Vincent is 22 years old, living, as I said, in Miami, Florida, like all these guys do, and he talked about growing up how he had a difficult life. He was scrawny, he was weak, and other kids picked on him. But I want to point out something that makes this claim a bit suspicious, and if your stuff is suspicious this early, that is not a good sign of what's to come. Vince is 6'5". Now sure, back in high school he might not have been a full 6'5", but what are you, 5'11", 6 feet? You're still going to be a tall guy even if you're skinny, so people aren't going to like to go around and pick on you. But he said no. I cannot continue to be skinny, I gotta hit the gym. And he gained roughly 60 pounds of muscle. Now if he did that naturally or he was on the juicy, that's for you to decide. And Vincent saw this as a way to market himself and potentially make money, teaching other people how to go from the skinny, scrawny kid in school to being a buff guy like he is now. But he realized quickly that no, this isn't enough to just do this. I need to launch a full-out coaching business to mentor other people. So he dropped out of school.
Dropped out of high school at 16. I was like, I don't want to take the traditional education route.
I'm one of the biggest critics of formal education, but dropping out of high school is one of the dumbest things you can do because nearly everything in the world requires you to have a high school diploma at a minimum. Now sure, you could go back and get a GED, but just don't drop out.
This is Control Your Narrative, where we're focused on controlling our narrative. In today's video, we're going to react to Vincent Fisher, an alpha male who said that he was 21 years old the past few years and now is turning 22. Everyone says he looks like he's in his 40s. He says that he's jacked and has a hot girlfriend, but you be the judge. So, do you think he really has this money? Let's go watch and see.
It's free. But Fisher doubled down and said, my only regret is not dropping out sooner. Traditional education is dying. People spend $50,000 to make $50,000 a year and work full time. But hold on, this doesn't add up to what Vincent actually did. He dropped out of high school, not college. You don't pay $50,000 to go to high school. At this point, you couldn't even take on $50,000 of debt because you're a minor. You wouldn't even legally be allowed to do that. Now, obviously, he's dismissing college as a poor investment, and I'm gonna say I agree with Vincent in that sense. Me personally, I went to college, and I found it was a complete waste of my time. But let me know down in the comment section, are you a college person? Are you not a college person? But Vincent's critique of the college system is a complete straw man. It doesn't cost $50,000 a year to go to a college unless you're going to some Ivy League school and have no scholarships. When I went to school, it cost $5,500 a semester for in-state tuition, which comes out to about $10,000, $11,000 per year, no scholarships. That's only 20% of what Vincent claims it is. On the other side of the coin, after you graduate from college, making $50,000 is a very low estimate for a college degree holder.
I go to the bank because I need my wire limit raised. I'm like, I've sent too many wires already. I have like 5 other people I need to pay. I'm like, what can I do? They're like, okay, look, Vincent, you have a student checking account. He's like, you processed $600,000 in the last month on a student checking. This isn't gonna work.
Hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right. Vincent Fisher claimed he dropped out of high school and certainly didn't go to college because he says it's a waste of time. So at what point did he get a student checking account? And I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything about student accounts and banks and how all that works, but I'm pretty certain there's limits and restrictions on student accounts, and sending hundreds of thousands of dollars in wire transfers just ain't gonna cut it. Around 2023, Vincent started to launch his alpha male entrepreneur persona, claiming he helps fitness influencers.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. Who do you think is going to be the next king of the alpha males after Wes Watson supposedly goes to prison? Do you think it's going to be Vincent Fisher, or do you think it's going to be another alpha male? Let me know in the comments. Who is your opinion on who will be the next king of the alpha males? And now, let's continue with the video.
Make bank, and he invites people to DM him the word mentor for coaching. He's still promoting his 6-figure fitness mentorship program, promising to help clients make $10,000 per month as an online coach, usually within a short period around 30 days. Two things. Number one, that is the definition of a scam. You promise someone to get big returns quick. It's no different than going online and saying to someone, hey, send us $1,000, we'll flip into $10,000 in a day or two, just give us your money. It doesn't work that way. There's no magical recipe that you could just put in the oven and it pops money out for you. It takes a long time to build something up. Even if you're starting a business, yeah, there's a lot of money you can make on the back end, but it's not gonna pop up after 1 month. Also, notice that $10,000 number. I will say it in every video I make. That is a scam number. These guys all say $10,000 per month because it's not delusional, but it's also not normal. When you see $10,000, run away. To bolster his image, Vincent frequently touts his success, showing off his Miami penthouse, his multiple supercars, and his beautiful girlfriend. Those are his words. But this stuff all plays into a materialistic worldview. These people don't own any of the stuff they show you. It's easier than ever to go online and rent an apartment or rent a car. Having a car rental company in that area, that has to be one of the most profitable things you could do. If there's any people out there with a lot of money, listen to me. Go down there, get you a fleet of 10 supercars or sports cars, and just rent them out to these people. You will stay busy 365 days a year, I guarantee it. But before we start calling him out for flexing rented items, let's talk about some of the outlandish things this guy said, because honestly, I've never heard someone say such crazy things.
I just knew if I sat behind a desk my whole life, I'd shoot myself in the head.
He would rather be put to death than work in an office. I would hate working in an office. But the idea that you're gonna go and be put to death over doing that is crazy. Is there a more childish response to have? Nobody's forcing this guy to work in an office.
These alpha males think that people are so dumb that they'll just hand them money to try to get rich. Maybe some people are, but they don't have the discipline to do what you do. Work. Stick things out. That's called discipline, even when it's not fun. A lot of these guys, they just want you to think that you want to get rich quick. Maybe you do, but this is not the way to do it. That's why these alpha males, they don't have no discipline. That's why Vincent Fisher says that he'd rather off himself than to do work or be in an office. But an office job is a great way to start. Most billionaires will tell you that they had a job that they didn't like, but on the side, they would build a business. That's how they do it. But these alpha males just want you to want getting rich just like they did, or that they tell you that they did, because a lot of these guys are being found out as frauds, like Rook is doing. He's telling people, he's exposing people about these alpha males, and that's what I like.
But it's hard to imagine, right? If you're from Arizona or Ohio or somewhere in the middle of nowhere, is you don't see money, so you don't believe it, right? It seems like something out of your reach.
Where does he think Ohio and Arizona are? They're both large states in the middle of the US. If he'd stayed in school, he probably would have known that, but instead he dropped out. These coaches online actually believe that Miami and Dubai are the only places you can live. If I ever had any money, I would never in my life choose to live in Miami or Dubai. I would want to live a million miles away from all these wannabe celebrities. He took this video from the Palm Jumeirah. It's a set of man-made islands in Dubai. Dubai is a part of the United Arab Emirates, which is ranked 34th nationally in GDP with approximately $536 billion per year. That's the whole of the United Arab Emirates. Guess who's 35th? The state of Arizona. Arizona's literally right behind UAE. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. One thing Vincent says that I do agree with, because I always try to frame these in a genuine, fair way. He talks about how when someone isn't happy in a job, they should quit. And he's right. You should quit if you don't like a job. So if anybody out there is at a job you just hate, just find something else to do. You have way more freedom in your life than people realize. And it might be easier or harder depending on your circumstances. But if you're not happy, look for something else. Because happiness is more important than money. I believe that 7 days out of the week. But if your happiness comes from weed, you're a loser. That's what Vincent Fisher thinks. But oh wait, what is this? Is this Vincent Fisher smoking a hookah while getting a haircut? Oh my goodness, I thought smoking was bad man, you shouldn't do it. Oh, of course, it's cool for me, but not for thee, right? If you smoke weed, you're gonna end up in a shack with cockroaches, according to him. I can't play the audio because it's full of copyrighted music, but it's perfectly okay for him to go smoke hookah while getting a haircut. You have no place to talk about anybody else's hobbies, habits, or addictions if you can't even wait till you're done with your barber to smoke hookah.
These alpha males, they'll tell you one thing, then do another. It's kind of like, do what I say, don't do what I do. Because alpha are not the leaders they claim to be. They don't like to lead from the front. They'll tell you to not do drugs or like these other things, maybe don't drink, but they end up drinking. Just like uh, King Azole, he says that he doesn't drink, but then he says later on in the video he drinks. Then we got Vincent Fisher saying he doesn't smoke, but he does hookah. It's kind of like they break their own rules. They're not who they say they are. So how do you believe that they're rich? Maybe they're not even rich. Maybe they have wealthy parents. Maybe they're just trust fund kids. A lot of people don't ever say that. They don't ever even try to think that about these guys. Like reaction channels, they don't really mention that too much. But for me, I think some of these guys are trust fund kids, or they're just kids that their parents still hand them money. That's why maybe their business is not as good as it says, or as they say it is. But who should we trust? The alpha who says one thing and does another? So let's continue.
Go back to his claim about how smoking weed is for losers. I don't like weed, okay? I don't even like the smell of weed, but if you want to smoke weed, assuming it's legal, that's not a problem. You're not a loser or incompatible with success because you like smoking weed. It only becomes a problem when you start to turn to that thing instead of addressing your emotions, or you start slacking on your responsibilities. If you drink a beer with your friends on Saturday while watching the game, you're not an alcoholic, or you're not a failure. And the idea that someone thinks you're a failure because you want to have a good time, it just makes them look like a loser. But an alpha male would never be complete unless they're gonna flaunt their own appearance.
Vincent Fisher, the best man of the world. Yes, yes.
Vincent Fisher paints himself as the ultimate alpha male. He says, quote, "I'm 6'5", jacked, and a tatted millionaire." He boasts all the stereotypical markers of macho success.
Here's the rug. This rug is actually $10,000. I'm getting exposed to all these things by practicing success.
Fisher loves to claim that you should surround yourself with things that are rich and people who are very successful. And if you do that, those same things are going to come to you. But by that logic, why are there homeless people in San Francisco? They're around millionaires. They're around success. The city is wealthy. So why are there so many homeless people? It's because you can't simply think about or manifest success or money. You have to actively take steps to make it happen. But Fisher gives these examples of being in the Palm Jumeirah in the UAE, or seeing a $10,000 rug, or perhaps the dumbest one.
When I was a little boy, my dad used to take me to the by the airport. We'd get McDonald's, we'd park by the airport, and we'd watch private jets take off. Now, my mind thought nothing of it at the time, but my dad was visualizing.
Which absolutely did not happen, but that does nothing. It's just a waste of time to go do that unless you like watching planes. No matter how hard you think about it or how many friends you have who are successful, it does not translate to you unless you put in the work to get.
I'm not a huge fan of weed. I never have been. Even when I used to party, I would do it from time to time, but I was not the one that would really buy it all the time. So that just was not my thing. But if that's yours, that's okay. If it's legal where you're from, that's okay. But I'm not a fan of it. For me, it just gave me no benefits. But maybe that's your thing. I'm not going to shame anybody. But drinking, for me, I remember I would always say 1 or 2 beers. Some people are okay with that. Does that make them losers? No. They work hard. They have a great relationship with their wife. I seen guys like that. And they just have 1 or 2 just to socialize. But they're not losers. They're just regular people trying to enjoy life. Whatever that is. They're not losers. But then again, we have the alpha males always trying to flaunt their possessions, their wealth, their image, just so they think that you see them as rich, which is crazy. It's kind of like girls. I don't know. I always think alpha males are like girls. You seen like the old school back in the day, Paris Hilton always flaunting her bags, her cars, or her friend, I forgot her name, uh, Nicole Richie, or not Nicole Richie, Nicole, yeah, Nicole Richie. Her dad was a singer, and they would flaunt around their purse, their cars, their wealth, pretty much. And that's kind of like these alpha males. They flaunt their wealth just so they can either make you jealous, or it's kind of like, look what I have, kind of like that. Like Wes Watson always matching his clothes to his car, like a chick. I mean, there are guys that have awesome muscle cars, but it's like they don't try to flaunt it to you. They'll just like, here, look at this. This is what it does, and this is why I bought it. But they don't try to match their clothes. They don't try to sell you on that and say, hey, you should get this. But these alpha males, they just want to have the appearance of looking rich. Although a lot of times their vehicles and their homes and their women are all rented. So watch what you watch online, and don't ever think that you're better than them. But one of the things that I want you guys to learn is to be disciplined in all things. These alpha males are not disciplined. That's why they give up on school. They want you to give up just so you're a loser like them. So don't be a loser. Fitness is awesome. It takes a lot of discipline, but it's not the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I always say is working. Working at 8 to 5 job. I'm not going to say 9 to 5 because no one really works 9 to 5 unless you're a banker, but an 8 to 5 job, 40 hours a week for a long period of time. That takes discipline because a lot of people would quit. And to stay at one job site or one job place for maybe 10, 15, 20 years is discipline, just so you could provide for your family. So I never shame anyone for any job they have if it's going to provide for their life, their family's life, or just to enjoy their life. So these alpha males, they just want you to pay them so that they be rich and you go broke doing it. So if you pay them and you go broke, then you deserve it because you tried to take the easy way out. But just do it brick by brick, day by day, build your wealth, invest, save money, build your emergency funds, do it the old fashioned way, like Dave Ramsey does, or he says to do. Watch a Dave Ramsey video, watch the Ramsey show, and he'll tell you how just the average person was able to become a millionaire, but it didn't take all these alpha scam courses. So just be disciplined in how you live and what you spend your money on, and that's how you get rich. Okay, because only you can control your narrative. And check out Rook's channel. He's an awesome content creator. He let me react to his channel, the videos on his channel, and I'll have the video listed in the description as usual. And everybody, stay awesome and let Rook know that the Frugal Cyborg sent you.